Hello, welcome to lesson 4. Today I will show you more examples of for loops. The main lesson for today will be lists and list methods. We will talk about mutability, and I'm going to show you how to use loops and lists together. And once everything is covered, then we can do today's project, which is the quiz show. We learned int, string, dir, input, print. I also showed you how to do slicing of a string. For example, name 4 gives you the colon, and 4 gives you the first 4 letters. There are also string methods. So dot strip gets rid of the white spaces before and after the word. And then we also did the f strings. It's a nice thing to do if you want to print variables with it. Conditionals, if, elif, else. The most important thing in the conditionals is the fact that indentation has meaning in Python. So we mark a code of blocks inside an if by indentation. If you have the wrong indentation, Python will refuse to learn, to refuse to execute. Okay. All right, and then last time it was probably lesson 3 was the most challenging one. We covered while loops and for loops. Most people give up at the loops. If you are in lesson 4, that means you made it, and the rest of the things that you learn will not be as hard. Okay, and I also explained what pass, continue, break does inside the for loop. Okay, so let me show you more for loops. What did we learn about for loops last time? We did something like for I in range 10, and then if you print I. So for loops repeat things, but if you repeat always the same thing, it's boring, right? But it has this index where it changes. So the first time it's executed, I has the value of 0, but the next time it's executed, it's 1. So it changes every time, and that makes the program interesting. And this range 10 is what instructs the values of I to be. If you only have one number, it always starts from 0 and stops right before this number 10. So it starts from 0 and ends at 9. And as it changes from 0 to 9 by increments of 1, it will print the numbers 0 through 9. So let's see, it prints 0 through 9, right? Okay, so this is what I showed you last time, and actually I think this is worthwhile to just memorize, because when I first learned programming in age 12, the very first program I saw was this one, printing 1 through 100. Well, it wasn't basic, so it was 3 lines rather than 2. But I just saw that and didn't know what it did. But about like 3 months into it, one day it just clicked. And that's when I really began to understand programming. So if you can actually just memorize this and just see how it works, then at some point you're going to actually understand what it does. Okay. So what does this do? It starts from 1 and ends right before 101, so it's 100. So it starts from 1 and ends at 100, meaning that you're going to print 1 through 100. Okay, so this is worthwhile to remember. Okay, now the new stuff. What's the new stuff that I'm going to show you today? Well, you can actually not only put range, but you can put some other things like the string. And I'm going to show you the list later. You can also put the list here. Anything that you can put indexes on, you can also put in here. And what it does is, this time instead of I become 0, 1, 2, 3, it will just fetch these letters one by one by one. So this will be repeating, but every time this is executed, you'll have different values of I. I will be H, and then E, and then L, and then L, and then O. Those will be printed. As you can see here, if you execute, what's happening? Oh, it's executed here. H-E-L-L-O. It's put here. Okay. All right. So hopefully that was something new. But you know, people don't do this that much. I think it's better to learn how to use lists and that will be the main theme for today. Okay, so but let me show you a nice program, something that you should also memorize. So let's say message equal to I am the king of this world, something like this, right? And what I want to do is, well, let's not put the for loop for now. Let's run this. And if I ask what message is, it's this: I am the king of this world. Okay. If you just print this, it's not as fun. So I want to do something cool with this. But let me show you this new command called len. It gives you the length of a string. It's apparently 33 characters long, including all the white spaces. And what you want to do is you can do a for loop, and instead of the number 33, I am just going to put len, the length of message. I like this because then you can change this to whatever, and you don't have to change this number. It will Python will automatically calculate it for you. Okay, so that's what you have. And then for loops, you always need this colon, so make sure that you have this colon. And then the nice thing that I want to do is to print this, print the message. But if you just print the message 33 times, well, what good is it? It doesn't do anything, right? So I'm going to do colon then I. What does that do? Well, I explained that colon and a number gives you the first I character. So if I is like 4, then it gives you the first 4 characters of the message, right? So it will be I space AM. That much will be when you do colon and then 4. Because I starts from 0 and then just keeps increasing, you're going to see more and more of the message, okay? Oh, by the way, if I is 0, you don't print anything, so that's kind of wasteful. So let's make it start from 1, okay? All right, so let me show you how this one runs. Okay, you see that? Starts from I, and then I am the king of the world, and it goes like this, okay? So you can put all kinds of things in here, like I got 100 on my history test. Yeah. I got A on my calculus, something like that. Yeah. Something that you want to be proud of, you just put it in here, and then you can do this. So and it's only 3 lines, and that means you can just memorize it. If you memorize this, then you will at some point realize how to use the for loop. And if you can use for loop, because that's the hardest part of programming, then everything else will be a breeze. Okay. All right. Let me show you just one more thing. A lot of the programming books, they do something like this just to make patterns, you know. If you print like this, you get something like a Christmas tree, or you can do put something like some other patterns like this. Okay, let's see what this does. Yeah, you can do this. You can play with this and make different things. So that's what I wanted to show you. Okay, so now let's jump into the next topic, which is the list. Okay, a list is the data of the form when you have this bracket and you put something here. So for example, fruits equal to bracket. We have apple, banana, peach, kiwi. And then if you put fruits of 0, then it accesses the very first element and it gives you back the apple. So let me show you how that one works. Okay, Control L clears the screen. Fruits equal to apple, banana, kiwi, and then orange, something like that. And then fruits 0 gives you apple, fruits 1 gives you banana. You can also put negative indices, and that means you go from the end. So -1 gives you orange because that's the last one. Fruits -2 gives you the second to the last one. And just like how you use indices in strings, say colon 3 gives you the first 3 letters, right, in terms of string. So in lists, what it does is it gives you the first 3 items, just like that, okay? If you want the last 2 items, then you can do -2 colon, fruits, okay, just like that. So the last 2 items are here, okay? One thing that actually is very different between string and list is, although they're both indexable, you can put indices for both, the lists are more capable because you can change stuff. So let's say I don't like apples, I like peaches, so I put peach. And then immediately I see that the very first element has been switched to peach rather than apple. Right? However, think about the following case. Message, let's say burn after reading. Like spies, you know, yeah. And let's say you didn't like this and you wanted to change the very first letter to capital T, so that it reads turn after read. But unfortunately it doesn't work like that. It says str object does not support item assignment. What this is saying is that strings, you can't replace letters, whereas lists, you can replace things. The more technical way to say this is that strings are not mutable, whereas lists are mutable. Okay. All right. So let me briefly talk about mutability here. Items in lists can be replaced. We just saw what this did, right? But the following will produce an error. We'll also saw that this causes an error. Okay. And in Python, strings are immutable, meaning it cannot be modified, whereas lists are mutable. And somehow being immutable supposedly makes the object more nimble. It's a little hard to explain why, but like having less functionality means it runs faster. And the designer of Python thought that because you're going to use strings a lot, it's better to make it simple than to have lots of capabilities, right? And because of that, there are also lists that there's something called a tuple or tuple that acts like a list, but it's immutable. There's also something called a set. Sets are different from lists because, first of all, they use curly braces, not the brackets. Tuples use parentheses. Sets, if you do apple, apple, banana, it only allows one of the same thing, so this just becomes apple, banana. Let me show you that as well. So if I say A equals to apple, apple, banana, and ask what apple is, it just gives you banana and apple because it doesn't allow copies of the same thing. Whereas if I use a tuple, or tuple, apple, apple, banana, then it's okay, right? But because tuple is immutable, if you want to change b of 0 as peach, again it's going to complain. Yeah. Okay. So there are different things for different purposes, but you know, it turns out that tuples are not that much faster. So in most cases, people just use lists. Lists will be the go-to thing, and rarely people use tuples. Sometimes when they use like coordinate systems, they like parentheses more. So that's the case when people use tuple. And sometimes if you have a list and you want to get rid of the duplicates, then people use sets. That's another thing that people do. Okay? Alright, so I talked about mutability, immutability, just a little bit more. You can also look at the type of fruits, and it's a list, right? Whereas if you look at the type of A, that's a set, right? B is a tuple, type of B is a tuple, but if you want, you can change that into a set. So you can say set of B, then you can see now that although B had 2 apples, because now it's turned into set, duplicates are removed. So that's nice, okay? All right. So what can we do with sets? Well, there are set methods, and do you remember how to get all the methods? You use dir. So let's look at all the methods, all the things you can do with the list. So if you dir fruits, it says, okay, you can do something like you can append things, clear, copy, count, extend. Yeah, you can look up these to see what it does, but let me just show you a little bit. Fruits.sort. What does this do? Well, if you look at fruits, it's sorted in alphabetical order. Pretty nice, right? And then we can also remove things. Fruits.remove kiwi. And if you look at fruits, sadly the kiwi is gone. But you can put them back again. .append, and then kiwi. And if you look at fruits again, then you'll see that kiwi is now added, although that's now at the end. You can, if you want to add not just a single element but many, then you can do fruits.append. You can have, let's see, watermelon and strawberries. And you just have to, no, not append, sorry, extend. So append only allows one element, but if you want to add more than one, you have to do extend by a list. So if you do that, you get this. And of course you can try other ones. Now here's how you go around not being able to modify strings. So what was the message again? It's burn after reading, right? One way to change that to turn after reading is to just reassign the entire thing. That's okay. You can turn after reading. And what happens internally is that Python just assigns the new memory area, puts this data there, and then relabels that one as the message. The old place where this is there, it's somewhere still in the memory, but it no longer points to it. And sometimes it might, at some point in the future, it will get overwritten. Okay, so that's what it does. Here's another way to approach it. So let me just go back to burn after reading, because I like that. There is a way to change a string into a list, and then because lists are mutable, you can change things and then come back to the string. This process is rather complicated, so I'm going to show you this today, but I don't expect you to remember. It's okay, just try to learn as much as you can. In the next lesson, I'm going to show you an example where I actually do it because I need it. Okay, all right. So here's how we do it. Let's just make a list L as a list of the message. That's what L is. Let's see what L is. L is burn after reading, and you have this empty space and all these letters. Okay, and then what you want to do is you want to change the very first letter as capital T. All right, let's see what L is. Okay, now we have the turn after reading. However, we want to have a string, not a list, right? So you have to join this into a string, and that's actually the tricky part because it looks very cryptic in the beginning. So what you need to do is you need to start with an empty string. So if you do quote quote, that gives you an empty string, and then strings have methods, right? And one of the methods is join. And then you just want to join this list to form a string. So join and then L. Now if you're interested in why we need this empty string, if you just put minus here, then you'll see that everything is joined, but there is this thing in between. So people rarely use anything other than just an empty string, but it is there. Sometimes you might need it. Okay. All right. So that's something that you can do to make burn after reading into turn after reading. But we will actually need to use something like this in the later one. Okay. All right. So once we know this much, now we can make a grocery list app. It's a little corny, so you might not like it, but you know your parents might. So let me show you how it works, and just see if your parents might use it. Okay. All right. So let's start with a very simple idea, which is to get an item. Right? Oh no. We're going to start with an empty list. So let's say grocery list. Put it as an empty list. And then I'm going to have a while true, because you have to keep adding things. And if you do while true, it just goes forever. It repeats forever. But it's okay, because we're going to put something called the break. We talked about break, continue, and pass last time, right? You can break out of the loop by using the break command. Okay. All right, so while true, what we're going to do is I want to ask what item to buy, or what item to put on the grocery list. So what do you need to buy? And then how do you add this item to the list? Grocery list. You can tab complete. So tab complete. Then dot append. Right? That's how you add things, right? So append the item. And then once you append the item, you just do this over and over again. And then after everything's done, you just print your grocery list. And that's a simple app. The only problem with this is it will never get out of the loop because it's while true. So we have to put a break somewhere. So this is what I'm going to do. If item is nothing, it's a blank string. So it's a null string with nothing in there. In other words, if you just press enter, then I will think of that as a sign of no more item to buy. Okay, and the list is over. Okay, in that case, we're just going to break. Okay, so let's see. I warned you it's corny. What do you need to buy? Let's say eggs, and then milk, beef, chicken, Oreos. You like Oreos? Okay, and then enter, and then it gives you eggs, milk, beef, chicken, Oreos. You know, you can do something slightly cooler, which is to sort it before you sort it before you print. Okay, you can do that. Let's see. Okay, so milk, eggs, oranges. Enter. Oh. You know what? So one of the problems, or main big difference between list method and string method is string methods returns a string, whereas if you apply a method on the list, it doesn't give you back anything. What it does is it just alters the list itself. So that's why it gives you none. So you have to first alter the list and then print what's in the list. Okay. So we have this, and well, okay. So this doesn't mean much. So we should change this a little bit so that it's slightly better than writing things. So first thing I want to do is maybe you want this grocery list to check if you put multiple things at the same time, because if your grocery list has 2 Oreos, then you might end up buying 2 of them, thinking that even after checking, who knows, right? Yeah, you might like it because you have more Oreos at the house. Okay, so but anyways, here's how you use the if statement in that case. So if item is in the grocery list, so this is something that I haven't shown you before. So in a list, you can test whether something is in the list or not by just doing this in. So if the item is in the grocery list, then what you do is print you already have it. And then you don't want to add that to the grocery list again. So what do? You just want to move up to here, skipping this. And what's the command? It's continue. Continue just continues to the next loop without going through the rest of the code. So this won't be executed if you already have the item in there. Okay, so let's execute this. So eggs, apples, milk, vinegar, Oreos. Enter. Okay, and as you can see, it's sorted so that you have alphabetical order. Okay. Now, then I have to show you how to use the for loop with the list. Okay. So let's look at the grocery list. You can use a for loop for x in grocery list, and then print x and enter, and look what happened. What happened is that for loop just repeats stuff, so it prints this x, but the difference is x goes through each item in this list, and then as it goes through each item, it's getting printed. So when x is apple, it will print apples. When x is eggs, it's going to print eggs. When x is milk, it will print milk, and so on and so on. Okay, so that's how this thing works, and that's nice because, I mean, wouldn't you want this print rather than having it with this weird symbols of quotes and then brackets? So let's implement this. However, we're going to do something more smarter, which is to actually put the numbers in front. So here's another take. For I, x in enumerate grocery list. If you do this, then I starts, so this enumerate command makes you able to fetch the index number and the item at the same time. Now, apples is index 0, eggs is index 1, and so on and so on. So unfortunately, if you just do print I, x, then you're going to see 0 apples, 1 eggs, and I don't like it because, usually people start from 1, not 0. And also, if you start from 1, then you know that there are 5 items to buy, so it's a little confusing if you start from 0. So what do? You can do the same thing. However, I should be adding 1 to the I. Then if you do this, then it gives you 1 through 5, right? Okay, so that's something nice we can do. Moreover, well, let's put that in here, and then I'll explain what else I want to do. So instead of print grocery list, which gives you this ugly one, ugly stuff, I actually want to delete this one and say for I, x enumerate grocery list. Oh, to say in. And then I'm going to print I plus 1, x. Now, one more thing. I really want a dot after the number 1. So what you can do is you can use the f string. Remember, f strings can take values and then turn it into a string, a part of the string, right? So I plus 1 is calculated, and that becomes part of the string. And then you do dot, and then a space, and then you put the item name, just like this. And there you have it. That's the grocery app. What do you need to buy? let's say eggs, apples, milk, beef, hot dog, and pizza. Enter. And it gives you everything in alphabetical order. So that's it. Yeah. See if your parents like it. Okay, now we are ready to do the most important project of today, the quiz show. This will be similar to like the Jeopardy, but instead of having to say the answer out of nothing, you will be given multiple choice. And then just like Jeopardy, there will be different prize money, but you can't choose categories. That's going to be too complicated. So we'll just have prize money with 100, and the next question will be 200, and then 400, and so on. And then just like Jeopardy, at the end, we're going to allow money to be betted. So we bet money at the last round. Okay, let's try to make this one work. All right, so, oh, that's not it. Here, let me see. Let's start a new REPL, Python, quiz show, create REPL. Okay, before I actually start coding here, let me just give you some idea of how this is going to work by doing some stuff in here. Okay, so let's say trivia. Just think about the trivia question, not too hard. Let's make it simple, like question. What color is the Incredible Hulk? And we know it's green, right? So the structure is first you put the question, then put the answer afterwards, and then I want to put a bracket and put the choices, like let's say red Hulk, or like pink pink Hulk. Okay, that's gonna be fun. All right, and then you can also do, what's a nice color? Yeah, blue Hulk. That also sounds funny. Okay, and then green, the actual answer. And let's see what trivia is. So it's like this. The first one is the question. The next one is the answer. Red, pink, blue, green. Okay. Now what I want you to see here is that not only you can put strings as elements in a list, you can also put a list as an element of a list. And I mean, you can also put numbers, just like that. That's fine too. Okay. So you can put anything in a list, and I actually put 4 choices because that makes it easier. Okay. So if I look at what trivia 0 is, that gives you the quiz question. Trivia 1 gives you the answer, and trivia 2 gives you the choices. Now in addition, there's something cool you can do in Python, which is called unpacking. So you can say question, comma, answer, then choices, equal to trivia. And if you do this, then if you look at what question is, it's exactly the question, answer, choices, just like that. Okay. When you do this unpacking, you have to make sure that the number of items here matches with the elements in the trivia. See, trivia has 3 elements, 1, 2, and 3. And the third one is actually a list, so that one also has a list elements in there. But when you calculate the length of trivia, it's just 1, 2, and 3. Okay. All right. So this makes things a lot easier. Okay. So with that in mind, let's put some trivia questions. Actually, let's just copy this one. copy, we'll paste it in here, or Control V or Command V. Okay, let's say trivia. But I mean, you can't have a quiz show with just one question. That's not good, right? So we need a list of trivia questions. So I'm going to make a list of this list. So trivia questions, okay? So list of list. And this will be our first question, or the item. And then we need to put a comma and put another one that's similar to this list, okay? So we need to put another dumb question. Let's see. Another dumb question. What is a tin can made of? Okay. Well, of course, the answer is a tin, right? But then the choice would be like steel, silver, and then aluminum, and then let's put the correct answer somewhere here. Correct answer should be tin. Okay, so that's what we have. And then we're gonna actually do a for loop. So for item in trivia, so that each trivia items will be now fetched by this for loop item. And then we're going to do something that I just showed you. Question, answer, choices. The item will be unpacked like this. Okay, so it's unpacked, and once it's unpacked, we need to print the question, right? And then you have to print the choices, but instead of printing choices, we're going to do what we just did in the groceries. So what do? We do for I, x in enumerate this choices, and then we're going to print I plus 1, x. I'm not going to use the f strings. Let's just make it simple. And then we have to get an input, right? So I want to say num equals to input what is your answer? Okay. Now when I do this, I'm expecting a number. So let's think about what this does. So I'll just print number. Let's just execute this and see what we have. So, okay, what color is the Incredible Hulk? Red. What is a tin can made of? Steel. All right, so we got that. So whatever you put in, it gives you that, right? The problem is, so let's look at this one. The current number is 1, and I want to choose this steel. Look at the choices. Choices is steel, tin, silver, aluminum. But if I do choices 1, I don't get steel, I get tin. That's because Python indices, they start from 0. So this is 0, that's 1, that's 2, that's 3, right? And therefore I need to subtract 1 so that 1 minus 1 is 0, so that I get choices of 0 instead. Okay, you get me? So here's what I want to say. So I want to say user answer is choices of the number minus 1. Okay, that's the user answer. Oh wait, but that's not good, because it's going to cause an error, because input returns a string, right? So num is actually not a number, it's a string, and string minus 1 subtraction is not, you can't subtract a number from a string. So you have to change this into an integer. How do you do that? You put int. no. Okay, so that's how you do it, right? So then the user answer will be this. Now what do? If user answer is equal to the actual answer, then we say print correct. Else print wrong. Okay, so already we have something that's functional. It's not, I mean, it's nowhere complete, but it's still something we can do, right? All right, so what is a Incredible Hulk? Let's say pink. Funny, right? Okay. Okay. What is a tin can made of? Of course it's made of tin. Okay, correct. Good. Yeah, but we decide to keep scores, right? So what we need to do is there should be money that contestant earns. So you start with 0 money, but the prize money starts from 100 and then it's going to double all the time. So what I want to do is every time it's correct, I'm going to increase the money by the prize. How do you do that? Well, money plus equals, that increases by this amount on the right side, right? And not only that, I also said we want to increase the prize money. We're going to double the prize money every time, right? So when after this is executed, we double the prize money, okay? And then we add. So let's see. Okay, this time I'm going to get it right. Oh, but see, I have the money. I earned $300 because the first question is for 100, the next is 200. But that information is not printed, so we better print it. So let's print it somewhere here. Print this question is for dollar amount of the prize money. Oh, but see, I want to print the content of the variable prize. To do that, you need the f strings. Okay, so we put the f strings, and this is what we do. Okay, and then after everything is obtained, we should actually print how much money you have, right? So print you currently won total of dollar money, just like that. So see, you currently won total of dollar money. Okay, I went rather fast, so let me explain this from the beginning. So I have the trivia questions always in the structure of question, answer, and the choices. Start with 0 amount of money. Prize money will be 100. An item goes through each element. Right now there are only 2 questions, so each item in the trivia, and then it unpacks the question, answer, and choices. It says, okay, this question is for, say, $100, and then prints the question, and then it prints all the choices, and you have to put the number, and it fetches which choice I made, and says that's the user answer, and checks if the user answer is indeed same as the answer. In that case, I increase the money by the prize money. On the other hand, if it's wrong, oh, you know what? Even this one, we should say wrong. The correct answer is answer. That way, you learn something as you do. Yeah. So if you thought that Incredible Hulk looked pink because your TV was somewhat strange, now you know that Incredible Hulk is green. Okay, you learned something. Oh, something's not right. Oh, I forgot to put the F string here. Okay, so let me run this again. Okay, green, and it says this. You currently won total of 100. You know, I would like to have some space between this one and the next one. So let's print some empty lines, and a nice way to do that is to just put backslashes. \n gives you new line. So 2 new lines, and print already prints something, so that's good. Okay. And then maybe some intro, right? Something like print So I explained that triple quotes and triple quotes, that's multi-line strings. Okay, so we can do something like here and then game show. Okay, put something here. And then you can also put your name there by, oops, something happened. Okay, by Dan on. You don't have to. You can put your own name. So something like this. And then welcome to, oh, it's set to say quiz show, not game show. Quiz, welcome to quiz show with your host Python 3.8. Okay. Please answer in numbers. That might be something that you need to let other people know. Okay. And then let's run it. Quiz show by Danan. Welcome to quiz show with your host Python 3.8. Please answer with numbers. So what color is the Incredible Hulk? Of course, he's blue. Oh no? Okay, it's green. Okay. So I earned currently $0. And then what is a tin can made of? Well, tin, of course. Okay. So I won 200. All right. So you can kind of see that you can add more stuff in here, but you know, because this is going to take a lot of time, I actually searched online for something nice, and I found that there's an open source, Open Trivia QA there, and one of the brain teasers that they seem to have some really fun questions. So I copied this, and I made a web page so you can just copy it from my page. So let me show you. The website address is 100worksheets.com coding, and if you go here, you'll see all the codes that we've made before. So if you want to see, you can just copy this and run it in your repl.it just to see how it's supposed to be done. And then actually the reason you want to be in this page is because I turn this page into a Python code like here, and if you do Control A or Command A and Control C, or Command A if you're using a Mac, then you can just come back here and just replace this entire thing and just Control V. Of course you can choose not to delete it, but then just add something to it. So you have this, and you know, this is more than 100 questions, so there's a lot to do, but you can't be solving 100 questions, that's too much, right? So instead of doing 100, you can just choose from here, say column 5 questions. Okay, so the first 5 questions will be fetched, and item will just do the first 5. But here's another thing. Then that means the other questions won't be used at all, and that's a pity because you really want to change the questions and answers as well. So what can you do? Well, here's a new idea. You remember the random package, right? Import random. And that random has a nice function called shuffle. And you can just shuffle the trivia list, and it will just shuffle the questions so that even if you're just taking the first 5, it will be basically the same as taking random 5 questions. So even if you play this over and over again, you will likely not get the same questions. So that's better, okay? And not even that, suppose you did get the same questions, at least the choices should be shuffled as well, right? So I'm going to put in here choice, no, random.choice, random.shuffle. I'm going to shuffle the choices. Okay. And now this is perfectly randomized. Let's try to play this one. Okay, let's see. Yeah. Let's delete everything. Play all over again. Okay, so quiz show by Dan. Okay, Matt and Julie asked their son how was your day at school, and they always receive the same brusque answer, fine. Brusque means habitual, constant, the same. No, I don't think so. Let's say false. Yeah, okay. I actually don't know what it means. Okay, for $200, 12 candles were alight. The wind blew 5 of them. How many candles were left? Well, the candle fires, 7 are left, but all 12 candles should still be there because none of the candles went out of the window. So number 2. Okay, and then row consists of 10 letters. Oh, I know. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 0, 1. Oh, so 10th letter will be 9. And it should be, the answer should be N. Okay, which word refers to colorless, odorless xenon? I know that for sure. Okay, I'm on a roll. Okay, I give up. I'll just put 1. Yeah. Okay, you currently won 12, 1500. Okay, good. Yeah, but that still doesn't do what I planned. I wanted the last one to be a bet, right? So this is not game over. We're gonna say print this last question. Before we do this last question, you must bet. Okay, and what we do is bet would be input. How much are you betting? Okay, so if you get it right, you get this money. If you get it wrong, then you lose that money. Okay, because that's your bet. Now, I need this to be a number, but this is going to be a string, right? So let's just apply int before and after. So immediately this input will turn into a number, and that's going to be stored in bet. And we need to do some safeguards. You don't want the bet to be bigger than how much money this person has, right? So let's put an if that same as. So let's say if bet is bigger than the money that the contestant earned, then you have to print you can't bet more than you have. Okay, and then you're going to adjust the bet as the money. Okay, so you're basically betting everything you have. Okay, and then you should print f string. Your bet is $, and then you do money, which is So that's, you just print out the money that you have. So if you had like $3,000, then your bet is 3,000. That's how it works. Okay, and then now you have to do the problem. You know how I said you can choose the last element? So let's just choose the item to be the last element in the trivia. Remember, this is still shuffled, so I don't know what that one is. But definitely it won't be the same question as one of the first 5, so that's better, right? Okay, so we have the last -1, and then we just have to repeat everything in here. So I'm just going to copy this much, copy this much, paste it in here, except that these are indented, but indentation has meaning, and this is going to cause an error because it's not under any if statement or the for statement. So you have to unindent everything. You can either delete all the spaces, but here's a quick way to do everything at once. You just select until the indented one. So these are the ones that I need to unindent, and you do Shift Tab. It unindents everything, so that's pretty cool, right? Okay, so it's this one. So we're just doing the last one more time, but we're not gonna be printing this one because it's the bet money. And what is your answer? Same thing. If it's correct, we are going to add the bet money, and if it's wrong, then we're going to subtract the bet money, and after this it's game over, right? So you have to print game over, and before and after, maybe let's put some blank lines before and after, and total winnings, okay, is dollar money. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so let's actually get to play this. Quiz show. Okay, deride means to laugh at. Yeah, that's right. Firefighter stood. I can't read this. Let's just say 2. Okay. What is heavier, a pound of bricks or a pound of feathers? That's the same thing. They have the same weight, right? Okay. A mother has 6 daughters, and each of them has a brother. How many children are there? Well, 1 brother and 6 daughters. That's 7. Okay. Yeah, I told you this is fun. Okay. I don't know. Let's just put 4. Okay, 12 rungs. Okay, before we do this last question, you must bet. How much are you betting? Okay. So let me show you something interesting here. Since I have 1300, the maximum I can bet is 1300, right? However, here's a way to hack. So let's say you're playing this game with your friends. You want to put -$1 million as your bet. Why? Well, that's because what am I? Okay, in 1 of 5, I'm not alive. Okay, I'll just hope to have something that's wrong. Okay, 1. Hopefully that's wrong. Okay, yeah. The correct answer was a stone, and look how much money I have. The problem is, see, I made the code to subtract if it's lost, but what if this value itself is negative? If you subtract the minus, that's positive, right? So that's how I got this incredible amount of money. So of course, this still has a problem. You have to make some more if-then statement here somewhere after the bet, so that if bet is negative, then you reset it to 0. But I'll leave that to you. Okay, so hopefully I hope this was fun for you, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye bye.